Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Zero from TechDragon.info, and today we have part 2 of the test server. But before we get started with that, link up above here, somewhere in this image thingy video, where you can go to part 1 if you haven't seen it, yesterday's video, where I go through all the interface changes, like the thing here on the right, and the filters and that sort of stuff. So if you want to see that, take a look at yesterday's video, and then come back to this video. One other note, in the top right corner you'll see a little eye, a little white circle with an eye. You can vote up there for... Actually, no. It's going to be in the description. We'll do a straw poll. That way I get some more insight into how many people voted and that sort of stuff. So, in the description, first thing there will be a link to vote for next week's videos. This week was a bit of a disaster with artillery, lots of emotions running high, all sides, people hating, people loving, you know how it is, artillery. So, sadly I can't do an artillery video today, darn. But the server always goes first. So, that is that. Vote in the description down below, vote for what's coming up next week. This week's choice, Tier 1 to 5. So, take your pick, what do you want to see? Tier 1 is going to be... interesting if that gets picked, so don't pick that, damn it. For the rest, yeah, we'll see what happens. And then next week will be tier 6 to 10. Possibly more interesting, but we'll see what happens today. Well, you know what, I might do it differently, but you'll just have to see in the poll. It's going to be tiers, but I might split it up differently. Anyways, so, let's take a look at some of the new HD models, starting with the T46 here. Now, normally you have 2 checks to see if something is not premium, HD. You check the barrel for any rifling in there. The rifling is these spiral shaped ridges in there. Can't quite see that, the gun's too short, can't zoom in far enough. The next one is to see if the vendor, if there's dents in the vendors here, and there's none. But this is actually an HD vehicle, so that's new. This is one of the very few that's not dented. Huh. Okay, that's pretty weird. Next up, the BT7. Look, there's the dent. We have it. So, yeah, looking pretty good. What do we have here? Not quite sure what this is. Maybe some sort of cover or something, like a tarp? Not sure. Got some additional tracks there. Okay, next up, T80. Yeah, I've never played these. Quickly take a look here. Here. T80 is located here. This line didn't exist when I started playing, so I never played these. Are they worth anything? Has anybody ever played these? Are they like fun to play? I have no idea. Let's take a very quick look here, and then we'll move on, I promise. Penetration, yeah. Damage, yeah. I don't know. Does it get scout matchmaking? That's one thing I miss in here. Matchmaking. Would be nice to have that in there. Yeah. Anyways, moving on to the next tank. And here we are now. Like I said, this is on my European account, so I don't have my own HU85B, but here it is. It is in full glory HD. It's very sharp angles. Like, normally the vendors, you know, have a little bit of dents in them, that sort of stuff, but this one is very crisp and clean. I like it. It's nice. Looks good. I doubt much has changed in the armor profile of this tank when I got HDified. It had no armor to begin with, as you can see here. It scores 7. Pretty terrible. It's gonna remain terrible. But overall, looks good. Let's take a look inside. I wish I could zoom in more. I really miss that. Like, I really want to get in there and see the details, you know. But, looks good. Breech looks nice and clean. Yeah, looks nice. Okay, moving on, we're gonna use the new preview feature to see the rest. And here we are with the, what's this thing called? SU-122-54. SU-122-54, whatever you want to pronounce it. And it's looking fearsome. This thing looks good. I like this one. Holy smacking hell. Yeah, it looked very nice. Like, I actually have, like, different lighting on the welding and stuff. It looks good. Can we see inside the barrel? Can we see the rifling? Yeah, you can. Just barely, but you can. And there's some dents in the vendors. So, yep, it's HD. Looks very nice. Moving on to the next one. And here we are with the Object 430. Has been HDified as well. This thing looks mean. I mean, this thing always looked mean, but it looks even meaner now. Nice. Is that a normal light? Looks so red though. Virtual white looks so coppery red. Yeah, it looks nice. Of course, it has dents. Yep, it's HG. Complementary log. Oh, this one actually comes with a birch log. Nice. Variation. I like it. Moving on to the next nation. And here we are. The 38T. I don't know, this thing, I've never had to play it, luckily. I never went through this line. I really don't... Wait a minute. Is that a complimentary log? What is this shenanigans? This is not Russia. This is Germany. Phil. Looking at what this is, it almost looks at some sort of aiming sight, but it's too low for the hatcher to see. Not quite sure what that's supposed to be. Normally when you have something to this extent, it's to hold the gun barrel in place during transport, but that's definitely not the case here, so I'm not quite sure what this is for. If anybody knows, let me know in the comments. It looks like an aiming sight, like an external aiming sight for some reason, but I have no idea what that is for. Maybe it's a... Nah, it can't be a towing hook because those are down here. I have no idea. Anywho, yeah, nice shovel there, some stuff on top. Looks good, even though it's a piece of crap, but it looks good. Moving on to the next one. And here we are with the VK3001P. I've mounted the, what's this thing, 7.5 centimeter gun. Could mount the 88s. I don't like the 88s. Although, something has to be said, in this patch, the 88mm did get a slight buff. It's now at 145 pen. I think it was at 130 or so. So it did get a slight buff. Makes it a little bit more usable. But I prefer 150 pen, but that would just be me. Ooh, that thing is rusty. Dang. Nasty. Yeah. Overall, looking good. It's, you know, not too much special about this tank. You don't see too many of them around either. And probably for good reason. It's, yeah. Its armor, yeah, turret armor is 100mm. Turret armor isn't bad with the gunmetal and all that. That's probably the only good thing really about this tank. Other than that, not really. Okay, moving right along. And here we are. The T1 Cunningham got some love and made into a, I was gonna say premium, bloody hell, into an HD tank. I wish you could zoom in with, especially these smaller tanks. Like, you can't even see the detail. I can see that it's HD, but it doesn't really look that good, to be honest. Like, you can see the scratch marks and all that on there, but and the wear and tear around the hatch, which makes sense because it opens and people scrape by it. But I don't know. I'm missing a little bit of detail on it, I guess. I mean, it looks nice. Don't get me wrong. It just feels a bit too empty. You know, there's nothing hanging from it. There's nothing on it. It's very static and yeah, I don't know. Seems to be missing something. That's just my taste. Moving on. And here we are with the next one, the T67, or if you're an old player, the T49. This used to be the T49 until we got renamed to the T67 and we got the T49 with a derp gun. A little bit of history there for you. It looks weird. Like the back looks really flat now. Was it that? It looks wider. I'm pretty sure they made this thing wider. It was not that big. It was not that wide. They've bulked this thing up a bit, which is probably not going to be good for its concealment. I don't know what these numbers were before. Something tells me that's not good for its concealment. Now, I don't have any crew on here. This is just a preview, of course, so can't tell you quite what it would be on mine, but this thing looks a bit fat. It's not good. I don't know. Not too happy with that. I want this thing to be bigger. Other than that, yeah, it's HD. Looks good. So, moving right along to the M6. The M6 is definitely one of those tanks that I have played. I just don't remember ever playing it. Man, I really don't remember playing this thing ever. I got through it. I got the T29 and up. But I have no idea how I got past this thing. Must have been sleep playing or something. No, I didn't free experience it either. Lots of things sticking out. I don't think this was here before, was it? Are those actual... look like actual slits for like a driver, but that's where the transmission is. At least I would assume that's where the transmission is. So I'm not quite sure. I doubt there's anybody sitting there. I mean, we have a hatch over here, and a hatch over here. This would be your driver's hatch, and this would be your gunner's hatch, I'm gonna assume. We have some side hatches here. Side view is always nice. Yeah, I don't know what these are. I'm not sure. They look open, but it's a bit hard to see in this lighting. But overall, it looks nice. Certainly HDified. Moving on. And here we are with the AMX 1390. This thing looks beast. I love the way this thing looks. It looks so nice. I like it. Looks really good. Yeah. I like the French ones for some reason. They really have that like dirty sand kind of feeling. Like there's sand in all the crevices and nooks and crannies, and I don't know why, but the green just looks really good in HD. I guess because you have more colors to it, because you have like the sand in the edges, a bit of the brown rust metal color coming through, and just the silvery metal coming through. It's just more color, I guess. I don't know. They just look really good. Moving on. And this thing got HDified. You can definitely see it in the vent. Why fenders, not vendors, fenders? Why do these things why are they always so dented like it looks like they hit a pole with it, like they drove straight up into a pole? Every single time. They really don't give the drivers of these tanks enough credit. Sheesh. Looks big as always. Not sure what the hell this is about. Not a clue what that is. Something storage external, it seems. I doubt it would be in ammo storage, right? Nah, can't be. Not quite sure what the hell this is. If anybody knows, let me know. Curious. I love watching these HD vehicles and discovering new things on them. Like, what is this? Okay, moving on. And here we are with the next tank. This is what I meant with the rifling earlier, by the way, in case you're wondering. It's that inside the barrel. You can very clearly see it. Which makes the shell give a little bit of a spin, which stabilizes it. Just a thing that they discovered quite a while back. I think like in the 1900s or something. Around that, maybe even earlier than that. Rifling is pretty old. They had it in guns before they had it in tanks, but later on they did it in tanks as well. And then after that you got the smoothbore guns, which are different again, but yeah, never mind. Centurion Mk got an HDification. It took a while because the Mark 7 already got its HDification quite a few patches ago, so they're a bit late on this one. But overall looking good. Still not quite sure what this is. I mean, I know what it is. It's a driver's hatch, but is it supposed to be glass? And if so, why is it so milky that it's not transparent? I don't understand. I mean, you have viewports up here. So clearly he's not looking through this. Then what the hell is it? But yeah, looking good. Next. I do love this new preview feature. Makes it so much easier to just show these tanks off. So much easier. Because it's literally click, 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 and it's fully loaded. Rather than researching it, purchasing all the items. It's so much better. Anyways, let's take a look. The Type 62, of course, already got HDified quite a few patches ago. I think its hull is pretty identical to this one. But overall, still nice looking. I love the detail in the turret here. It's so nice. Like you really feel like it's a texture of a metal. It has a surface area, you know. It's not just a surface that's just flat. It really feels like you have those dimples in there in the structure, and yeah, it looks really nice. Love it. And we're getting to the end here. 2 more tanks to go. Next up, the Chee-hee. Yeah, I always think of Michael Jackson with this tank. Okay, anyways, the Japanese, in contradiction to the Chinese we just looked at, they look very smooth and flat and you know, I like these a lot less. I don't like the smooth texture. I really love the one, like I just said, like the actual feeling that you're looking at metal, or steel rather, metal. Maybe it's just a different material actually used for a tank. That's possible. Not entirely sure. But yeah, HD fight looking, well, very Japanese and very shitty tanky. Yep, next. And here we have the last HD tank of this patch, the Cunningham, the tier 5 premium Japanese tank. Got an engine grid up here. Yeah, overall, looking pretty good. Let's move on to the changed tank, shall we? Starting off here with the STA2, the premium tier 8 medium tank. What did they change? The reload time of the 90mm went from 7.1 to 7.5 seconds. This thing got nerfed a little bit in the reload. Dispersion after fire decreased by 14% though, so your next shot is not going to be as inaccurate, or you don't have to wait for the aim time as long. And the penetration went from 185.9, what the hell, to 212, so a pretty big buff there in penetration, which is pretty major. So taking that little bit of an aim, or not aim, recharge hit there of 0.4 seconds, but for a smack ton more of penetration. What is it? About 25-ish penetration more. That's not a bad trade-off, I would say. A little bit less rate of fire, but 25 more pen, that's pretty big. So, yeah, pretty good rebalancement, I would say, there. And the next tank, the STA1. Dispersion on 90mm went from 0.37 to 0.38, so a little bit less accurate. Let's see, penetration, again, it's pretty much the same gun as the STA2, so the penetration went from 185.9 to 212. Like I said, exactly the same. The reload went from 7.5 seconds to 7.7 seconds. And both those earlier stats, by the way, were from the stock gun. Upgraded gun goes pretty much the same thing, really, from 0.37 to 0.38 accuracy, and the penetration went from 185 to 212, so pretty much the same thing twice for the two guns that you get, like the upgraded 90mm gun. So yeah, pretty much the same stuff, just different tank. Now, as for the OI experimental, they have done a lot of rebalancing with these Japanese super heavies. So let's take a look at what changed with this sucker. And my god, that first gun is derpy. Anyways, they've done a lot to this tank. Tank traverse, not turret, went from 22 degrees to 20, so we got a little bit slower on the turn. Dispersion on hull traverse, so while you're turning, increased by 9%, so you're going to be less accurate while turning. The traverse speed of the Kai suspension, which is the upgraded suspension, went from 24 to 22 degrees, so again a 2 degrees nerf there. Dispersion on hull traverse with the Kai suspension, which is the upgraded, increased by 10%, that's not good. And the aiming times, the 12cm short barrel went from 2.6 to 2.9 seconds. The 10cm cannon went from 2.6 to 2.8 seconds. And the 7.5cm went from 2.2 to 2.3 seconds. So pretty much nerfs all around. As you can see here, 2.8 seconds on that 10cm gun. That's a bit of a shame, but yeah, it kinda was necessary. Reload got hit the same way. The 10cm gun went from 9.7 to 10 seconds, so 0.3 seconds more there. The 12cm gun went from 9.6 to 10.5 seconds. The dispersion on turret traverse on a 12cm gun went up by 20. Pretty much this thing got nerfed all around. Let's just put it like that. Every single stat got upped, or if it's worse, downed. The traverse basically got slower, the dispersion got bigger, and all the reloads got slower. So this thing pretty much in the gun department got nerfed, and a little bit of track traverse. But mostly in the gun departments. All reloads went up and all dispersions went up, and yeah, pretty much got nerfed all around. Moving on to the next one. The OI got a little bit of the same treatment, but traverse actually went from 20 degrees to 16 on the stock suspension. On the Kai suspension went from 22 to 18. Ouch, 4 degrees nerf there. Dispersion on the move increased by 11%, that's not good. Dispersion on the whole traverse increased by 22%, again, pretty much nerfs. Reload time, however, went from, still nerfs, from 11.1 to 12 seconds. And pretty much the same shit everywhere. Reload on the howitzer went from 25 to 26 seconds. And dispersion on traverse increased by 12%. Yeah, this thing got nerfed all around again. And the HP went from 970 to 950, so it got a little bit of an HP nerf as well. So pretty much all around, this thing got nerfed. It was already announced that the Japanese super heavies were gonna get nerfed, but yeah, it has finally happened. Next, the Type 91 Heavy, the Tier 4 heavy tank. Let's see what they did to this thing. The aiming time of the 7cm gun went from 2.9 to 2.3 seconds. Aiming time of the 7.5cm went from 2.5 to 2.3. The reload time of the 7.5cm went from 3.4 to 3.3 seconds. Dispersion on turret traverse decreased by 29, so that's good. And its durability went up by 10 HP. I kind of already like this tank. It was not a bad tank, really, to play. To be honest, it's a bit of a weird one, but it was not that bad to play, and they've buffed it. Well, I'm gonna have to try it out and see, on live server, I mean, and see what it's like. That's not bad. Good to know. Let's move on to the British vehicles. Coffee. So, you gotta have your coffee when you're talking this much. The Achilles. I actually own this vehicle because I enjoy playing it. It's a fun tank. It, for me, is like a T-67, sort of, but the British version of it. It's not quite the same, but somewhere along those lines. It's pretty fun, and I like it. I do pretty well in it. So, dispersion on the move and whole traverse decreased by 4%, so basically 4% more accurate while moving and turret traversing, so that's good. Reload of the gun went from 4.6 to 4.4 seconds, woohoo! And dispersion of the 17-pounder gun went from 0.33 to 0.32, so it got more accurate, faster reload. Fantastic news! That is great. I love it. I really like this thing, and it's even better now. Woohoo! Next, the Challenger. Traverse speed of the Challenger went from 26 to 28 degrees. That's the track traverse speed. Dispersion on the move decreased by 14%, that's good. Dispersion on whole traverse decreased by 7%. Dispersion on the move with the Adventure suspension decreased by 15%. And dispersion on the whole traverse with the Adventure suspension decreased by 8%, all buffs. Reload time changed from 4.5 to 4.4 seconds, so that's a buff. Accuracy went from 0.34 to 0.32. This is on the 17-pounder gun, by the way. Does this thing just... Oh wait, this thing of course gets the same gun as on the other tank we just discussed, so exactly the same changes. But however, when you have the Adventure turret on this thing, the turret... the aiming time, went from 1.7 to 1.6 seconds with the top turret. This one, the Adventure turret. And the reload went from 4.1 to 3.9 seconds. Sweet. And dispersion on turret traverse with everything decreased by 20%, pretty good. And dispersion with the 17-pounder gun changed from 0.33 to 0.3. That's pretty damn good. So accuracy of the gun went up as well. So we can get this thing decked out a little bit. I don't remember this thing having this on top, but okay. So 0.29 dispersion. Holy crap! It says 0.30 in the patch notes, but apparently it's 0.29. Huh. Okay. Nice. Pretty good. So, pretty damn accurate. Very nice. Let's move over to our next tank, shall we? So, our next changes are absolutely not about this tank. I just clicked a random one because we don't have this one available. I have it on my other account, but like I said, I couldn't get to my normal NA account for some reason, so... the M56 Scorpion. Dispersion on moving and whole traversing decreased by 12%, so more accurate while you're moving, that's good. Maximum reverse speed went from 12 to 17, that is fantastic. That reverse speed was ridiculously slow. And the aiming time of the gun went from 2 seconds to 1.9 seconds, sweet. Dispersion on barrel movement decreased by 29% as well, so pretty much accuracy buffs all around while you're doing something. Fantastic. T95E6, again, not one I can show you in the game here, I do believe. No. So we're just gonna have to sit here for a second. Crossing capability, so that's over soft, medium, and hard terrain, increased by 22, 20, and 10%. That's good. Aiming time of the 122mm turret changed from on the blah blah turret, the E6 turret, changed from 2.3 to 2 seconds. That's a pretty major buff there on the aim time. And dispersion went from 0.4 to 0.38, so quite a good buff for that thing. The T95E2 went, let's see, dispersion on the move and halt reverse decreased by 36%. That's pretty big as well. View range went from 390 to 400 meters. That's a weird change. They don't really change that very often, the view range. Interesting. And the traverse speed went from 32 degrees, to 44 degrees. That's a pretty big improvement as well. So, very nice there. Let's take a look at the next nation, shall we? Well, this is again not one I can show you, so we'll just pick a random tank, just so we have something to look at. The T22 medium, the very hated, fabled, mythical unicorn tank that is the subject of many, many cries. It's sheer overpowered. It's as simple as that. The thing was overpowered as all hell. They have changed that. Not sure if it's enough, but we'll see. Traverse speed of the suspension changed from 54 to 40, so it lost quite a bit of traverse speed there. Dispersion on the move and halt traverse increased by 50%, so it cannot snapshot as it could. The crossing capabilities decreased by 50%, 43 and 33, so it's going to get slowed down quite a bit more on all terrain types now. Aiming time of the 100mm gun went from 1.9 to 2.4 seconds, which is much more in line with any and all other medium tanks. Reload went from 7.5 to 8.1 seconds. The dispersion on turret traverse increased by 50%. Dispersion of the gun changed from 0.33 to 0.38, so it was a lot less accurate. And the the traverse speed, not turret traverse, but traverse speed of the turret. They put it very weirdly here. Went from 48 to 30 degrees. So the traverse speed got a massive buff, but everything else got nerfed. Why would they buff the traverse speed of the turret then? That makes no sense. Oh no, wait, excuse me. Duh! From 48 to 30, so it traverses slower now. Never mind, I'm just crooked here. Bloody hell. Yeah, I was looking at a crooked thing like, wait a minute. No, okay, it got nerfed as well. So, pretty big nerfs all around, most in the mobility and gun departments. It still has that gigantic troll armor though. So, is this going to be enough to make this thing less OP? Well, at least it will be able to dash out less damage. But it can still tank as good as a heavy tank, but at least it's not as fast as a light tank, with the capabilities of a heavy tank in the armor department and the gun of a medium tank. Because that's pretty much what it was. So, we'll have to see if that was good enough. And a short update on the A32. Dispersion of the 76mm gun went from 0.52 to 0.44. That's a pretty massive buff there. And they've added a new shell, which replaces the old shell. And it went from 75mm to 98mm of penetration, so pretty big buff there as well. Moving right along, the 112, the Chinese premium heavy tank, got its purchase price reduced. Can you actually see the price? Yes, you can down here. From 12,250 to 10,500, as you can see, so pretty big discount there. I'm guessing this thing wasn't sold very often because it's not really that great of a tank, so it's okay. It's not bad, but... And they have moved the fuel tank from the front to the back. I'm gonna assume that's internal because you can't see any external fuel tanks. So basically, when you get hit in the front, you're not gonna get fueled and thus lit on fire as often. Moving right along, actually we're not. The 59 patent is not in the tech tree, so I can't show you. Again, have one on my other account, so can't really show you. Pretty annoying that it logged me into my EU account. No idea why. But anyways, The 59 patent maximum reverse speed changed from 16 kilometers to 20 kilometers an hour. That's good. View range went from 370 to 400. That's good. It's finally not as blind as it was. The aiming time went from 2.5 to 2.3 seconds. That's good. Reload from 7.6 to 7.5. And dispersion from 0.38 to 0.36. That brings it much more in line with any and all other medium tier 8. So that's really good. That makes it into a nice competitive tank, where before it was more of a novel, kind of tank. So that's really good there. Now moving over to our last nation that we need to discuss here. Now we're not going to talk about this tank again because it's still not on the good accounts. The Kanonenjagdpanzer. Dispersion on halt reverse with the Kanonenjagdpanzer suspension increased by 20%. The dispersion increased by 20%. That's pretty bad. That's not good. Aim time of the gun went from 2 seconds to 1.8 seconds. That's pretty good. Penetration went from 212 to 238. That's a nice buff there. And this one is pretty major. It doesn't get enough credit, these kind of things, but flight speed of the standard shell increased by 28%. That means you're going to have to get less lead to your shells, which means more chances of hitting, and the faster your shell will get to the target, the faster he will die. So very good to have that buffed. Now for the Pz.Kpfw 5 und 6. I think that's how you say 6 in German. I don't remember. Pretty bad at German. Was it 6? I don't know. Something like that. They basically moved it from tier 5, or from tier 6, excuse me, to tier 5. Both those and the Pz.Kpfw 5.6 Alpha, the two versions of it, and they basically adjusted accordingly to tier 5. So they changed a whole bunch of things. It changed the HP from 820 to 520, pretty much to bring it in line with a tier 5 medium rather than tier 6. And that was it. But one more thing. Let's take a quick look here. Here, and here. They have increased the penetration on the 88mm gun. I've already said this somewhere in this video. They have done it across the board for all tanks that have this particular gun, and there's actually quite a lot of them. This gun really got around. There's some mediums that have it, some heavies that have it. The Japanese, of course, a lot of the Germans. Don't think, let me quickly check if there's any other tank I'm forgetting. The Škoda, which actually not uses this particular exact gun, but pretty much all the 88mm variations, so 8.8cm guns. So Škoda T40, this tank, the TVP, the Pz.Sfl, no? Yeah, the Indian Panzer, Nashorn, Tiger P, VK4502, VK3002D, the Jagdpanther, the VK3601H, the Jagdpanzer 4, and the Tiger 1. All of them got their penetration buffed from 132 to 145. So that's a pretty nice buff across the board. It makes this tank a hell of a lot better because that penetration was so lacking on this tank. So that makes it possibly actually interesting to play the same thing again, because before it was just garbage. Not that it's much better, but a little bit more penetration always helps. It's 13 more penetration. It's not an excessive amount, but it's a little bit and it will help. So that's it for the test server. If there's any new versions coming out with any changes that are significant, we'll take a look. But for now, don't forget to vote in the poll down below. I'll put a link to a straw poll, and you can vote for what you want to see next week. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked this video, go to the thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.